Slaughtered Dogs. Art and Story by Mathieu Martel. February 16th, 1960. I barely notice the cigarette I'm holding burn into my knuckles. The smell of singed flesh wafts about my living room as it goes out. There's a half-finished whiskey in my right hand. I haven't touched it in some time. Is it the 8th I've had tonight? Or the 9th? All I know is the bottle is almost finished. The howls are incessant. When was the last time I slept? My eyes burn. I force them shut, trying not to hear the dogs. Why won't they let me sleep? God damn it. God damn it! I blow through my front door and scream at the darkness. There's nothing outside. There never is. Never any dogs, never any tracks. This is the only house for miles. I just look out on an empty, frozen tundra, snow falling like stars out of the sky. I scream as loudly as I can muster. My voice breaks, and I feel my vocal cords tear. The howls finally stop. I look around and laugh. Nature rendered mute. The thick silence of a night so cold it could kill is sweet music. I laugh in hysteria and stumble back inside. As soon as the latch on my door clicks, the howls return. It's as if they're in my mind. I cover my ears and blood trickles between hands tightly pressed to my head. The cries of the animals send fire through my whole body. I throw open my front door, tearing at my ears, and wander blind and deaf into the deadly night, driven wild by the very same madness I had wrought upon the north. February 9th, 1960, 7 days prior. My wife is gone and my daughter with her, driven away by a madman, or so she called me. But I'm not mad. I've heard them, clear as the frozen blue sky above my plot. For close to a month, as soon as the crystalline moon glows and until it fades, I hear the howls of those unseen hounds. It must be a pack of 10 animals, maybe more, but I can't be certain. Every time I aim to find them, they run off, light on their feet, for there aren't any prints for me to track. My wife said she could not hear them, and my daughter was in agreement. There is no sound but the wind. It plays tricks on your mind, she said. You're being driven mad by whiskey, not by some ghost dogs. But I'm not mad, I raged, although I fear my sins in the north have followed me home. December 9th, 1959, 1 year and 1 month prior. We rounded them up shortly before noon, a dozen teams of dogs at the very least. Our orders were simple: put them all down, leave the northerners with no means of travel, and force them south into our way of living. I pulled out my service weapon and stared at the animal in front of me. Although its eyes were blue, they had a warmth to them. It was panting, sending puffs of vapor into the crisp midday air. I was freezing and wanted to get this horrible deed over with. I looked at the locals who surrounded me and the other officers. The northerners could only watch. I looked back at the animal and pulled the trigger. That's when the howling started. It wouldn't end until the last dog was put down and the cold white snow was stained red with blood. The sled dog slaughter. During the 1950s and 1960s, it is speculated that the RCMP took part in the slaughter of countless sled dogs in an effort to push the Inuit people south and assimilate them into a modern lifestyle. It's still debated whether this was a deliberate act, ordered by the government in Ottawa at the time, or if it was in fact a natural culling that occurred in part because of the introduction of the snowmobile.